the Imperial Star Council floated in silence above a massive blue giant star. The star burned slowly, its light spilling across the walls of the council chamber like frozen fire. The station itself was ancient, built layer upon layer over thousands of years. Every hall, every pillar, was a reminder of power that had never been questioned. Hundreds of alien leaders sat in a wide circular chamber. Warlords, admirals, rulers of systems older than most civilizations. They were calm. They were confident. They were bored. The Empire ruled hundreds of star systems. Entire regions of the galaxy answered to them. Their fleets were countless. Their victories were recorded across history. They had not lost a war in centuries. Nothing surprised them anymore. At the center of the chamber, a large holographic screen flickered to life. A quiet tone echoed once through the hall. A new alert appeared. Border violation risk detected. Most of the council barely looked up. Another system. Another small race. Another problem that would disappear. Then the text changed. Human space. Do not cross. For a moment the room was silent, and laughter spread through the chamber. Low, sharp sounds, clicking voices, deep, echoing roars of amusement. Several leaders leaned back in their seats. Humans, one warlord said, his voice thick with humor. You mean those loud creatures who cannot stop fighting each other? Another leader waved a claw dismissively. They are divided across their own planet. How could they guard space? A fleet admiral spoke next, calm and amused. Their ships are weak. Their weapons are outdated. They rely too much on emotion. The laughter grew louder. The council began listing what they believed they knew. Humans were loud. Humans were unstable. Humans argued more than they planned. Humans were too young to challenge an empire. They are dangerous only to themselves, one commander said. The border alert remained on the screen, quiet and steady, as if waiting. Then a second notification appeared. Incoming transmission. Source, human territory. The laughter faded, replaced by curiosity. A human message appeared in the air. No symbols, no decoration, no thimbles, no decoration, no threats. Just words. This is a final border warning. Turn back. That was all. No anger, no demands, no display of weapons, no fleet shown on sensors. Just a warning. The chamber was silent again. Then the council laughed even harder than before. A senior admiral rose slowly from his seat. His armor was decorated with symbols of past victories. Entire species had surrendered to him. That is it, he said. No threats? No force? He turned toward the council. They send words, he continued. Words without power. Others agreed. If they were strong, they would show it, a ruler said. If they were ready for war, they would not speak so calmly, another added. The empire saw calm as weakness, silence as fear, warnings as desperation. The human message vanished from the screen. The admiral gave a simple order. Send a fleet across the border, he said. Not an invasion, a test. Several officers hesitated. Just enough ships to prove a point, the admiral continued. If humans resist, we observe. If they retreat, we advance. No one argued. The order was sent. Far away, deep in space, an imperial fleet changed course. Massive warships turned toward human territory. Engines ignited. Blue trails of energy cut through the dark. As the fleet approached the border, sensors scanned ahead. Nothing appeared. No human ships, no patrols, no warnings. The borderline was crossed. And something strange happened. All human signals went silent. Not jammed, not blocked. Gone. Communication arrays showed empty space. Navigation beacons vanished. Civilian channels disappeared without error messages. The fleet slowed. This is unusual, a sensor officer reported. The admiral frowned. They are hiding. The ships moved deeper. Still nothing. No defenses activated. No weapons locked. No fleets appeared to meet them. Entire systems looked empty. Stars burned quietly. Stations drifted, without traffic. Planets showed signs of past activity, but no movement. It felt wrong. One junior officer shifted uncomfortably. Sir, he said carefully, there are no distress calls, no evacuations detected. Everything was shut down cleanly. The admiral dismissed him. They ran. But as the fleet continued forward, the silence felt heavier, too organized, too calm, too deliberate. The Empire believed they were alone. They did not know they were being watched. And far behind them, across the border they had ignored, human space remained silent, not in fear, but in preparation. The Imperial fleet moved deeper into human space. Long blue engine trails faded behind the warships as they passed the border systems. The fleet remained in perfect formation, weapons ready, shields active, yet nothing challenged them. No alarms, no resistance, no signs of panic. The stars ahead looked normal. Planets orbited calmly. Stations floated in place. At first glance, everything appeared untouched, but something felt wrong. On the flagship bridge, sensor officers studied their screens in silence. The data was clean, too clean. Civilian traffic? The admiral asked. None detected, an officer replied. Military signals? None. Emergency broadcasts? The officer paused. Negative, sir. The admiral narrowed his eyes. Entire systems without traffic were rare. Entire regions without noise were almost impossible. Still, he refused to show doubt. Humans fled, he said. They abandoned their border. The fleet advanced toward the nearest colony world. The planet was green and blue, rich with oceans and land. Cities were visible from orbit. Lights glowed on the surface. Power grids were active. The fleet scanned for weapons. Nothing. No orbital defenses. No missile platforms. No shield networks. Landing craft were prepared. A small detachment was sent to the surface. They landed outside a human settlement. The city stood intact. Buildings were clean. Roads were clear. Doors were unlocked. Lights still worked. But the streets were unlocked. Not a single human was visible. The soldiers moved carefully. Their footsteps echoed too loudly in the quiet streets. Inside homes, furniture was neatly arranged. Food storage units were empty, cleaned out. Personal items were missing. Not destroyed. Taken. This was not panic, one officer said quietly. The admiral ignored the comment. They evacuated in fear, he replied. They knew we were coming. But the junior officers exchanged uneasy looks. There were no signs of chaos, no damage, no rushed escape. Everything was packed with care, as if the humans had time. Back in orbit, long-range sensors picked up movement, human fleets. They were not moving toward the border. They were moving away, deep into unknown space. They are retreating, the admiral said with satisfaction. As expected, the fleet commander sent a message to the Imperial Star Council. Human resistance minimal. Border systems secure. Celebration spread across the fleet. Flags were raised. Claims were made. Officers spoke of expanding deeper, faster. Then another transmission arrived. A human signal. It cut through the silence without interference. No encryption. No emotion. Just words. You were warned. We are done talking. The message repeated once, then vanished. Some officers felt a chill. The admiral laughed. They still think words matter, he said. Continue the advance. The fleet pushed forward. More systems fell under Imperial control. But strange things began to happen. Navigation errors appeared where maps showed clear paths. Time delays occurred inside localized space. Long-range communication signals arrived seconds late, then minutes. One scout ship failed to respond to routine check-ins. At first, it was ignored. Then another ship dropped from the network. No explosion. No distress call. Just silence. Report, the admiral demanded. We lost contact, a sensor officer said. Complete signal loss. Malfunction, the admiral replied instantly. But then a third ship vanished. Then a fourth. The fleet slowed. This was no longer coincidence. A surviving patrol ship reported strange readings. Space distortion detected, the captain said over a crackling channel. Instruments are unstable. Stars are shifting position. The signal cut off. The bridge was silent. Fear crept into the room, slow and unwelcome. Where are the human ships? An officer asked quietly. No one answered. They checked historical data. Old conflict records. Archived intelligence reports. One file stood out. A forgotten analysis written decades earlier. It described humans as patient. It warned they avoided early battles. It stated they never fought where the enemy expected. The admiral dismissed it. Outdated speculation, he said. Humans lack the power to challenge us. But the fleet was no longer confident. Systems behind them went dark. Supply routes failed. Navigation lanes collapsed without warning. And still, no human fleet appeared. No massive battle. No dramatic attack. Just silence, heavy, watching. A request for retreat was sent to Imperial Command. The response came quickly. Advance. The Empire does not withdraw. The admiral straightened. He would not be the one remembered for hesitation. The fleet continued forward. But deep inside the quiet of human space, something was shifting. Not rushing. Not angry. Preparing. The Empire believed silence meant surrender. They were wrong. The Imperial fleet no longer moved with confidence. Formations tightened, speed slowed. Orders were repeated twice instead of once. Officers watched their screens longer than before. The silence around them felt heavy, too heavy. On the flagship bridge, sensor readings flickered without reason. Star positions shifted by fractions of a degree, then returned to normal. Internal clocks disagreed with one another. Time itself felt uncertain. "Status report," the Admiral ordered. "Navigation is unstable," a senior officer replied. "No known cause. Human interference?" another asked. "No detectable signals," the officer said. "Nothing active." The Admiral clenched his jaw. "Proceed." The fleet advanced into the next system. At first everything appeared normal. Then one ship vanished. It did not explode. It did not break apart. It did not send a distress call. It was simply gone. One moment, it existed on every sensor. The next moment, it was not there. "Confirm loss," the Admiral said. Officers ran scans again and again. "There is no debris," one reported. "No energy spike," said another. "No weapon discharge," a third added. The Admiral stared at the empty space on the screen. "System error," he said. A second ship vanished. Then a third. The bridge fell silent. "This is not malfunction," a junior officer said softly. The Admiral turned sharply. "Speak when ordered." The officer swallowed. "Yes, sir." The fleet halted. Wide area scans were launched. Long-range sensors searched for hidden enemies. Weapons were armed. Still nothing appeared. The Empire had faced ambushes before. Hidden fleets. Cloaked weapons. But this was different. A patrol vessel at the edge of the formation sent a sudden transmission. "Flagship, this is Sentinel-9, the captain said. His voice was tight. "We are experiencing severe spatial distortion." "What kind of distortion?" the Admiral asked. "Our scanners show multiple star positions overlapping. Internal gravity is fluctuating. Time readings are desensed." The signal crackled. "We cannot maintain." The transmission cut off. Sentinel-9 disappeared. The bridge erupted with voices. "Lock weapons. Recalibrate sensors. Deploy probes." Probes were launched in every direction. Some returned strange data. Others never returned at all. The Admiral's confidence began to crack. "Analyze historical records," he ordered. "Anything related to human warfare." Data flowed across the screens. Most reports were dismissed in the past. Humans lacked numbers. Humans lacked fleet size. Humans lacked ancient technology. But buried deep in the archives was a single classified study. It was written by a long-dead Imperial analyst. The warning line stood out. "Humans do not seek early victory. They seek final certainty." The Admiral read the line twice. "What does that mean?" he demanded. A science officer hesitated. "It suggests humans prefer to end wars by removing the enemy's ability to fight at all." "Through what method?" the Admiral asked. The officer shook his head. The report was incomplete. More ships vanished, one after another, always without sound, always without warning. Panic spread quietly. Not screaming, not chaos, but something worse. Doubt. "This space is wrong," a navigation officer whispered. "It feels like we are moving inside something." The Admiral ignored him. "Human trickery," he said. "They are hiding weapons, yet no weapon signature existed. No energy trails, no impact flashes, only absence." The fleet attempted to change course. Escape routes failed. Star lanes collapsed as if erased. Coordinates led nowhere. The Empire's greatest strength control was slipping. A message finally arrived from deep space. Human origin. No image. No signal flare. Just a calm voice. "This is human command." Every officer froze. "You have entered a controlled region. Your fleet is being isolated." The Admiral stood. "Show yourself," he demanded. The voice continued. "We warned you because we believed you would listen. No anger, no pride, only certainty. You ignored the warning. Now we remove the risk." "Cowards!" the Admiral shouted. "Fight us." The voice paused. "We are." The transmission ended. Moments later, the largest Imperial cruiser vanished. Then another. Entire wings Imperial cruiser vanished. Then another. Entire wings disappeared in seconds. Not destroyed. Renewed. Fear finally reached the bridge. "This is extermination," an officer whispered. "No," the science officer replied. "This is containment." The Admiral sent a final emergency signal to the Imperial Star Council. "We are under attack by unknown human weapons," he reported. "Losses severe. Request immediate retreat authorization." The reply took too long. When it arrived, it was short. "Hold position. The Empire does not retreat." The Admiral closed his eyes. Behind him, another ship vanished. The Empire had crossed a line it did not understand, and now, the first lesson had begun. The Imperial fleet was breaking, not in fire, not in chaos, but in pieces of silence. Ships vanished in controlled patterns, always the same type first: command vessels, communication relays, logistics carriers. The Empire's structure was being removed layer by layer. On the flagship bridge, officers stood frozen at their stations. No one joked now. No one laughed. The Admiral watched his tactical display shrink. Red markers faded one by one, not destroyed, deleted. "This is impossible," a weapons officer whispered. "No enemy fleet detected." The Admiral slammed a claw against the command rail. "Find them." Sensors were pushed beyond safety limits. Probes flooded the system. Gravity scanners screamed with overload warnings. Then something changed. Human ships appeared. Not suddenly, not dramatically. They simply became visible. Small formations emerged from distorted space. Not massive dreadnoughts. Not glowing war monuments. Clean shapes. Dark holes. No markings. They did not rush forward. They took positions. Perfect positions. Escape lanes collapsed as human ships locked them down. Space folded in controlled lines, sealing routes like closing doors. The Imperial fleet was trapped. The humans did not speak. They did not threaten. They waited. The Admiral stared at the new contacts. "How many?" "Unknown," a sensor officer replied. "Their signatures overlap. They are layered." "What does that mean?" "It means one ship may be many," the officer said quietly. A transmission cut through all channels. "Human origin. Clear. Calm. This region is now under human control." The Admiral stepped forward. "You attack without honor," he said. "You hide." The human voice answered without emotion. "We warned you. You advanced anyway." Imperial weapons powered up. Target locks failed. Human ships did not evade. They did not need to. The first human strike was precise. A single Imperial command ship lost power. Its systems shut down instantly. No explosion. No damage to the hull. It drifted helplessly, then it vanished. Another strike followed. A carrier lost navigation control. Its fighters slammed into empty space, unable to orient themselves. Then the carrier disappeared. The humans were not fighting ships. They were removing functions. The Empire tried to counterattack. Weapons fired into empty space. Missiles lost tracking. Energy beams bent away as if space itself refused them. "This is controlled physics," a science officer said in disbelief. "They are shaping the battlefield." The Admiral's voice trembled. "How long have they prepared this?" The answer came unspoken. "Too long." Human ships moved in synchronized silence. Each action supported another. No wasted motion. No rush. Imperial formations collapsed as leadership vanished. Panic spread. "Fall back. Regroup. Send distress calls." None of it worked. Human ships closed in, not to destroy, but to isolate. The Admiral received a final human transmission. "We studied you," the voice said. "Your wars, your pride, your habits." The display showed Imperial battle records, ancient victories replayed and analyzed. "You always strike forward. You never imagine the ground itself becoming hostile." The screen went dark. Then the flagship lost power. Emergency lights flickered on. The bridge shook not from impact, but from sudden gravity shift. Officers struggled to stand. "We are being compressed," a technician shouted. Space folded around the ship, not crushing, containing. Outside, human ships held position, watching. The Admiral finally understood. This was not a battle. This was a lesson. The remaining Imperial ships were removed one by one. Some vanished instantly. Others were trapped in frozen regions of space, unable to move or communicate. Human fleets did not pursue survivors. They did not chase fleeing ships. They allowed escape, on purpose. A final broadcast echoed through the collapsing system. Human command addressed the galaxy. "This is the result of ignoring a warning." Every word was calm. Every word was clear. "We do not seek empire. We seek safety." The human ships began to withdraw. Systems stabilized. Space unfolded back to normal. What remained of the Imperial fleet was broken, scattered, and terrified. The Admiral's ship was released last. Power returned. Navigation restored. The human voice spoke one final time. "Go. Tell them." Then the signal ended. Human ships vanished as quietly as they had appeared. The Empire was left alone among the wreckage of its pride. The reckoning had begun, and it was not finished. The surviving Imperial ships limped back toward known space. They did not return in formation. They did not carry banners of victory. They returned scattered, damaged, and silent. Distress reports reached the Imperial Star Council in fragments. Some messages arrived hours late, others arrived incomplete. Many never arrived at all. Entire fleets were gone. Not destroyed in glorious battle. Not destroyed in glorious battle. Not defeated by superior numbers. They were simply removed. Inside the Imperial capital, panic spread for the first time in centuries. Admirals argued. Scientists shouted. Rulers demanded answers that no one could give. How did humans do this? What weapon was used? Why did our sensors fail? No clear answer existed. Every analysis ended the same way. Human technology was not stronger. Human fleets were not larger. But human planning was deeper. Borders across the empire began to shake. News spread fast. An Imperial fleet had crossed human space. The fleet had ignored a warning. The fleet had vanished. Allied species watched closely. Some began to withdraw support. Others closed their borders. Fear moved faster than any ship. The Imperial throne demanded a response. A council meeting was called, larger than any before. Every major ruler attended. Holograms showed damaged fleets drifting home. Crews spoke with shaken voices. Veterans avoided eye contact. One commander finally spoke the truth. "We did not lose a battle," he said. "We lost certainty." The chamber fell silent. For the first time, he continued, "The galaxy has seen the Empire afraid." That fear was deadly. Rival powers began to test Imperial borders. Trade routes were disrupted. Minor rebellions ignited. Old enemies resurfaced. The Empire tried to project strength. They increased patrols. They issued threats. They promised punishment. But behind every order was doubt. Then another message arrived. Human origin. It was broadcast openly across many systems. No encryption. No demand. Just a statement. "We warned you because we wanted peace." The message replayed everywhere. The tone was calm, not proud, not angry, certain. The Empire prepared a response. Threats were drafted. Retaliation plans formed. But no order was given. No one wanted to be the next fleet. Human space remained silent. No advance. No pursuit. No conquest. They did not claim worlds. They did not expand borders. They simply waited. That waiting broke the Empire more than any war. Allies began to leave. If the Empire cannot protect itself, they asked, how can it protect us? One by one, systems declared neutrality. Others broke away entirely. The Empire tried to respond with force, but every fleet movement was questioned. Every border crossing felt dangerous. What if humans are watching? What if this space is controlled? The galaxy had learned something new. Human warnings were not threats. They were limits. The Imperial economy collapsed slowly. Trade avoided Imperial space. Merchants rerouted. Resources dried up. Military power without belief meant nothing. The Imperial throne grew quiet. Old leaders spoke less. Young leaders spoke with fear. Historians recorded the moment. They did not call it a war. They called it the reckoning. Years passed. Human space remained unchanged. Borders were marked clearly on every star map. Bright red lines. Do not cross. No empire challenged them again. Not because humans ruled the galaxy, but because they did not need to. The empire that once laughed at a warning became a lesson taught across stars. A final report was written by an imperial historian, long after the fleets were gone. "The humans did not defeat us," it read. "They showed us we were never as strong as we believed." Far away, in quiet systems beyond human borders, human fleets moved slowly, watching, listening, prepared. Not for conquest, for balance. The galaxy adjusted. Empires learned restraint. Borders gained meaning. Warnings were respected. And humanity returned to silence. Not because they were weak, but because they had already been heard. Years passed after the reckoning. The galaxy did not return to what it once was. Empires still existed. Fleets still patrolled space. Wars still happened in distant regions. But something fundamental had changed. Every star map now carried the same markings. Human space. Clear borders. Bright warning lines. No uncertainty. New civilizations were taught about them from their earliest days of space travel. Traders learned to reroute long before reaching those systems. Explorers changed course without question, not because humans demanded it, but because no one wanted to repeat the mistake. Inside what remained of the old empire, the scars were deep. The empire still ruled territory, but it was smaller, quieter, more cautious. Its fleets moved slower now. Its admirals asked questions before giving orders. Pride had been replaced by memory. In imperial academies, young officers studied a new chapter of history, not a great battle, not a heroic last stand, but a warning. They studied recordings of the human message. This is a final border warning. Turn back. Instructors paused the lesson there. This, they told their students, is when the war was decided. The lesson was simple. Humans did not shout. Humans did not threaten. Humans did not rush. They warned. And when that warning was ignored, they acted with final certainty. Across the galaxy, diplomats changed how they spoke. Words became careful. Borders became respected. Silence became meaningful. Humanity did not attend galactic councils. They did not demand apologies. They did not seek recognition. They returned to their systems and rebuilt what they had moved. Human colonies reopened slowly. Trade resumed on their terms. Civilian traffic returned. Life went on, but always under watch. In deep space, far from trade routes and politics, human fleets drifted quietly. Their ships were few, their movements slow. They did not patrol aggressively. They observed. Human commanders did not speak of enemies. They spoke of balance. One human officer, long after the reckoning, was asked why humanity did not take advantage of its new position. "You could rule," an allied species said. "The galaxy would not stop you." The human replied simply, "Ruling creates resistance. Boundaries create respect." That answer spread quietly. Years later, a young explorer from a distant species approached the edge of human space by accident. His navigation failed. His ship drifted too close to the line. Alarm sounded. Before fear could take hold, a message arrived. Human origin. Clear. Calm. Calm. "You are approaching restricted space. Adjust course." The explorer did not hesitate. He turned back immediately. Later, he told others about the experience. "They could have destroyed me," he said. "But they didn't. They only warned me." That story spread faster than fear ever could. The galaxy learned the difference between domination and control. Humanity did not dominate. They defined limits. Over time, the story of the reckoning became legend. Some exaggerated it. Some softened it. Some tried to forget it. But the core never changed. An empire ignored a warning, and the galaxy changed forever. In the ruins of an old imperial outpost, a final inscription was found carved into the metal wall. It was written by a survivor of the lost fleet. It read, "We laughed at their silence. We mistook calm for weakness. We crossed a line we did not understand." Historians kept that inscription intact, not as a warning, as a reminder. Humanity continued forward, not as conquerors, but as guardians of their own space. They did not chase power. They did not seek revenge. They prepared. Always. Because humans knew something the galaxy was still learning. Peace only lasts while limits are respected. And one final truth echoed across the stars, spoken quietly in classrooms, command centers, and whispered conversations. Humans do not threaten the galaxy. They warn it. And when humanity gives a warning, it is not a request. It is the last chance.